Um, I feel super unprepared.
That's okay.
You said you wanted to do this, and you're gonna do a bunch of research on Venezuela. You said you already did.
Yeah, I did some. I mean, it's all open source. I didn't do.
Sure,
I didn't write a thesis on this. But
Mm-hmm.
I think like American foreign policy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're really talking about. And so, in my mind, especially because I'm about to be a civilian, so my perspective is different as a civilian than it is as a military serviceman.
Sure.
When
Okay.
we hear in the military, like something's popping off, we're like, I'm about to get deployed to Venezuela. Like that's a real like possibility.
Sure.
Especially with someone like you who is in the MU. Right? Like
when I was in the Marines, yeah.
Yeah, like we're gonna do an armada to the coast of Venezuela. If you're in that strike carrier group, you're like, that's me.
Yeah, I remember. I thought it was really funny back in like October when we moved all these fleets out there, all these ships out there, and I remember like, what are we doing? Because everyone's like, oh, we're not gonna actually do anything, and then we did that. It was like, okay, all right. But yeah, I remember back then thinking it was like really weird. Anyway, so Brian, I don't know how you want to introduce yourself, but
Brian, just a kid from Chicago.
From Chirac?
Sure. They had the lowest recorded deaths in like 30 years.
When?
This past year.
Okay.
They had the lowest amount of homicides than in the past 30 years.
Yeah, that's not that impressive because
it's a new low. You got to start somewhere. Baby steps.
Well, like 3 years ago was like the lowest in 30 years as well.
Right. So we're going down.
It's been going down though, like every year.
Right. So my point is like we were setting records the other way for a while, where it was like we were killing it, literally killing it.
Maybe like the entire country, but like for Chicago's actually been on a downward trend since the 90s of like violent crime.
I wouldn't say since the 90s. The 90s?
Yeah, since the 90s.
No, I know that.
It's like 93.
I know Chicago gets the rap, but like the Baltimores, the Baton Rouges, the New Orleans.
Baltimore is one of the few exceptions where crime has got worse.
Detroit. No, I'm just saying the ones that like lead, because when they do those statistics, it's like based per 100,000 per capita.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They try to like find some sort of control variable.
We gotta take these off, and we're talking about per capita.
Oh shit. But you know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? Like the, Chicago is never like in gross murders. And I mean like total number of murders. That's what I meant, not the gruesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chicago was always at the top. We always had the most amount of murders.
Right.
So we got labeled with the unofficial like Chirac. You know what I mean? Like what you said, And then when you look at it though, the actual numbers of per capita, like based on 100,000 residents, how many murders per 100,000, we were never up there.
Right.
We just always had the gross, like the biggest overall total number. Which, if you know anything about statistics, they're not the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, I would feel safer in Chicago than Baltimore, Detroit.
Well, but like I said, Baltimore has actually gotten worse in crime over the years, whereas like most places in the States have gone down since the 90s. Baltimore's like one of those few like cities that have been like, oh god, it's actually getting way worse.
Yeah.
There's like murders per 100,000. Like in the 90s was like 40 something, and then now it's in the 50s or 60s. So it's like it's gotten significantly worse in Baltimore, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
that was all just for my intro. I'm from Chicago.
Yeah.
I was like, how did we even get on murders?
No, okay, I got you. And we're here today. You wanted to discuss Venezuela, the foreign policy of the United States. I'm Troy. I haven't streamed on here in at least 4 months, so it's a long time. But
thanks for having me on, Troy.
very
happy to be here.
Off show.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
No, I just want to get the link because I know Garrick wanted to watch, so I'm just trying to find that for him.
Yeah. Man, like Venezuela. I heard so many different, because it's been like what, a week already? Last Saturday, right, or last Friday? So it's about a week and a day.
Mm-hmm.
And just hearing all the different perspectives from all the different news outlets and everybody speculating on what this means on the world stage and yada, yada, yada,
Right. No, it's a lot to take in. It like really surprised me. I rolled out of bed on the 3rd, I think it happened, which is like, whoa, what the fuck happened? You know, that we actually went and did
Wait, you weren't on the Iwo Jima?
back in 2014. I know that's very funny. Like, ha, 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 ha.
He was on the team.
That's not as egregious. It's like something going
He
on.
was in the unit.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, there's something that happened, like with the unit you were in. You know.
Well, yeah. Anytime anything happens in Chicago,
you're like, oh,
I'm connected to it because
exactly.
I'm from Chicago, and actually, that's maybe it's a military thing, but like military is an organization that is from people from all different parts of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I've seen it the most. But I'm pretty sure if I was like in a a company that was across the entire nation, a nationwide corporation, they would have the same thing. Like, oh, you're from Chicago? Oh, anything that's Chicago? Like murders, like everybody's like, oh, you're from Chicago? Do you stab anybody? I'm like, today, no.
Mm-hmm. If I get hungry,
to eat. My family won't accept me if I don't bring back tribute. You know what I mean? So it's like.
Well, because like the Iwo Jima, like being on a ship like that, it's less than like 1,000 people.
What kind of ship was it?
It's an aircraft carrier, but it's
Oh, it is. It was like a land amphibious, it's like a
LHD.
Yeah, that was LHD,
which means I think lateral Harrier driver or something like that. Which it means that
you're just making up words now.
No, that's what I was told it meant. I didn't look this up. I assumed the sailors knew, but they're all dumb as hell. But on the ship itself, there is amphibious craft, but
I thought the L stood for littoral.
I don't like this. But yeah, we had helicopters as well as fixed wing as well as amphibious craft.
Right, and so it had the deck, right, that like sunk underwater so you could get the stuff out.
Yeah, it's called the well deck. Yeah, there's the well deck.
It's called the poop deck or something. I don't know.
No, that's something else. I don't even know what the poop deck is. Like apparently that was a real thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, so they call it the well deck.
Yeah, the well deck, because it fills up. I don't know, but it fills up with water,
so the craft can get out.
Yeah, all the craft can get out or come in.
Expels the water and then it floats again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool stuff, just in and of itself.
But so like I was on that for a year, so it's like.
So that's the type of craft the
Iwo Jima is.
Iwo Jima is. Yeah, it's LHD or LSD or whatever.
LHD-7, a WASP class, carrier.
Right. So that's the type of ship that Marines would be on because there's the amphibious assaults.
Yeah, I'm just glad before we get into like anything really serious about the thing. I'm just glad it wasn't Navy SEALs who did this mission.
Well, then this podcast would have been too late.
Yeah, there would have been 1,000. Then there would have been multiple books read. No, I don't think Navy SEALs. I know Navy SEALs get a lot of hate, but they deserve more.
We should start off with how, as a military operation, it was impressive. Because I think that's the first thing. So I was reading an article the other day, and it's about foreign policy. And they're like, oh, you think international law is what keeps other countries in line? Like, it's because it's against the law, international law. That's why Russia, United States, we don't do things. And it's like, no, military strength is a form of diplomacy. It's a form of bargaining, negotiating. Mm-hmm. It's how countries barter. And the cool thing about the Navy, like what you said, you can deploy a Navy anywhere in the world, any ocean in the world, right?
Right.
And they're in international waters, and they can go right up to a country. Well, right outside of a country, right? Mm-hmm. But you're not in the country. You're just like, it's like if I went to your house right here and I was just outside the fence. But I'm like right at the fence.
Yeah.
Creepily looking in, and I could have big guns. I could have machine guns and stuff. Am I on your property? Did I invade your household? No, I'm on the street. I'm on the corner right here.
You're sitting there with 1,000+ people that are...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All with bad intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Very scary looking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're right there. Mm-hmm. You're like literally like right there. And you can see them from your shore. And so like that's intimidating.
Oh, thank you for the follow, Zig. Ziggo985.
That threw me off. I was like, why is this going off?
I need to make sure the desktop audio is the same as...
But like, just that, show of force, that actually is a real deterrent. Because it's funny, this comedian, he was like, oh, when I see, F-22 Hornets and Apache helicopters flying across the sky, I think of flyovers from football games, basketball games, like, hell yeah, America. When other countries see it, it doesn't mean the same thing.
No, it doesn't, yeah.
And so for us, like, the show of force is like a legitimate, like, another country wants to hurt us, and they're like capable. They're right. It's very plausible. They're like right there. And so it works. And that's actually like the military, the ability to keep people or other nations like legitimate in check. And it starts from like your very basic thing. Like, you know, if I was like your kid, right? And you're like, don't touch that. And I touched it. And I'm like, I'm touching it. And you took my hand and you slapped it. Like, I would be like, oh, he's bigger and stronger than me. I should probably do what he says or do it when he's not looking. You know what I mean? Like that force, your ability to impose your will on me, that's what a military does.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about the Iwo Jima, when I was on the Iwo Jima, is when the Houthi civil war broke out in Yemen. And our whole purpose was defending the U.S. Embassy. So just every day we just flew around the embassy every day, just like ready. And they could see us, like all the Houthis, and like, you know, like in case you attack it, like we will
to defend it. We're here to defend.
It.
And you're like actively like pointing at them and everything.
Well, we were on Ospreys, so we never landed.
There's no side doors like a helicopter on Osprey.
No. It's just the ramp on the back. But I mean, like after like the first hour, you're just trying not to puke.
Oh, because you're getting dizzy.
Yeah. You just got to sit there and just focus. Like,
and you're throwing up all over them. Like open the hatch door, and just throwing up.
Yeah, a lot of people threw up. I never threw up, thankfully, but there I came close several times. But anyway, so I mean, yeah, real world experience. Like I've been in that.
But that deters people.
It deterred them. They never attacked us.
Because they know, like, there will be consequences. Like right here, right now. Not a promise of consequences. Not, you better not.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what like sanctions. Oh, wait, that's another thing. Sanctions. What's a sanction?
Well, sanction is you're saying like
actually
what it is.
An economic sanction.
Like economic sanction. You're preventing economic transfer of wealth or goods or services between two countries.
Right. So
it's kind of useless on a one-to-one country basis. Even the United States, like we're the largest economy, but there's still plenty of other customers. Like I think sanctions are very good, but it has to be a group effort. You know, like us doing sanctions on our own achieve nothing except hurt us.
Right, but is a sanction by itself how big of a deterrent it is? Like, let's go back to the analogy where I'm like a kid and you're like, don't touch that.
Right.
That's basically a sanction. That warning, like, you will not touch that hat.
Or I'll take away your Xbox.
Or you take away my Xbox, right?
Sure, yeah.
But if you can't enforce taking away the Xbox, you can't make that happen.
Well, you take away the things, you take away the goods. Yeah, you can do that though.
For your country.
Right, but they can still get an Xbox from a different country.
Right, and let's say you said, hey, you two don't get that Xbox. And they're like, okay, we're not doing it. But then they're doing it.
Well, that's why I think everything that we do, if we want to have effective foreign policy, should be as a coalition of several governments, of several allies working together to do this, to prevent and
you've worked with coalitions before?
I have.
What's always the challenge with coalitions?
Well, there's tons of challenges, but I mean, a big one is your language barriers, different interpretations of command, interpretations of orders.
I would say consensus.
Yeah, consensus,
yeah. So that all sums up.
That's a military operation. I'm talking about a diplomatic operation.
I don't even think they're that much different. Like if you can't even and military operations are usually simple. Like go attack that, go seize that. You know what I mean? Our orders are generally clear, and even then, we have consensus problems.
Right, but I think when it comes to economic consensus, like we will not trade with this country. Like to me, there's no room for interpretation with that.
Right. No. And I don't think they misunderstand. Oh, I'm not supposed to do this. But it's like if you can't stop me from doing it, then your words are empty. Why do you think it's important that certain powers do sanctions? Like if Trinidad and Tobago were like, hey, we put economic sanctions on Venezuela, they're going to be like, cool story, bro.
No, yeah. Yeah, well, real quick, this is not my first stream. I haven't streamed in a long time. Ted Kaczynski, or Ed Kaczynski. Great, man.
Mike Shanowski.
But anyway, yeah. You said Mike
Mike Wazowski. Yeah.
But you know who Ted Kaczynski is, right?
No.
The Unabomber.
Oh, that's right. I did know I recognize the name, but until you said it.
But he's Ed Kaczynski, so he's not the Unabomber.
Edward.
No, I think right. You talk about Trinidad and whatever, but it's like
a country that doesn't
matter. But in terms of like the EU and the United States together, putting sanctions on a country is huge. The United States alone isn't. EU alone isn't.
No, I'm aware that when we put sanctions on a country, almost any country, it really, especially if they're a big importer of ours, like they rely on us to either export or import whatever they got, that's a big hit to them.
Yeah, right.
But what I'm getting at is you have to be able to back up any kind of sanctions. Sanctions are basically a threat, and if you can't follow through on the threat, sanctions alone are not. And what do they use?
The threat is sanctions, though. The threat is the sanctions.
Yeah, but you have to be able to enforce a sanction. You know what I mean? Like if you say, if the United States says, hey, we're going to stop trading oil with Venezuela cannot do any kind of oil business in the U.S.
Right.
If we couldn't stop them from doing it, and they were just doing it anyway, kind of like the war on drugs, they're like, no one's ever allowed drugs, but we're still doing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now, how much does the U.S. allow it? I don't know that answer. You know what I mean? So there's probably a threshold where like, okay, we'll allow this much drugs to happen in our country. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because of manpower, you know what I mean? Like, you know how it is. Like, you only have so many forces. You can only stop so many things. You know, everybody has constraints, even the big, strong United States.
Why did you say like a Russian?
Well, because we all have limitations, right?
Well, sure.
And that's what I'm getting at with like sanctions. And people forget the military. One of the Navy's like missions.
International trade.
It's freedom of navigation. Freedom of the seas, man.
Yeah.
Allowing our flagships to sail. Or
in international commerce to do the same.
Yeah, and not just us, but our friends and allies.
Yeah, international.
And that's a job of theirs is to allow, like, you know, pirates or Chinese or people. What is it?
The Chinese pirates.
People's Liberation Army. What do they call it? PLA. I think. Yeah, whatever.
I thought
Chinese,
PLA meant what's
the name of the Chinese army? It's like the People's Liberation Army.
Something like that. Sure, whatever. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, them
in the South China Sea.
Yeah,
those guys.
Yeah. Well, they're not just in the South China Sea.
Well, I mean, that's like the main focus of their like sphere of influence.
Yeah, but that's why we have a Navy, and that's why I thought it was kind of cool from like a military operation. They all got there. They did a joint mission. They fucking wrecked Venezuela. And the thing is, like, Venezuela was, from what I've read, when I think it was like early December when the Armada was pretty much all there. It was like December 8th or something like that. It was like early December. When they arrived and did all that, you know, they like were there actively like stopping boats and everything, or what was it, carriers, or you know, the big boats, cargo ships. When they were doing all that, President Maduro called his reserve force and all his other forces, from what I read in the news, to the coastline and started to bolster up their defense, because obviously there's like an armada, another nation's military on our shore,
right?
So naturally, they bring the people to the forefront. They're military, and I think they call them militias.
In Venezuela?
Yeah, they call them like military militias. Even though, like, when I think of militia, I think of like an unofficial organization, pseudo government, maybe loosely connected to the government. But you know, in other countries, that's like their army, militia, whatever. And so they pulled them to the forefront. So they were on high alert. They were expecting something to happen, like. You know what I mean? And we still smoked them.
Yeah.
And I think that's also impressive.
Yeah, no, it's extremely impressive. I mean, we took out their electronic capabilities and all their air defense like simultaneously. Like the whole operation couldn't have been more than like an hour, a couple hours, you know, like from start to finish. And don't get me wrong, like there's part of me that's like,
hell yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a big part of me that. well, you know why? Because like as an American, right? Like we're used to that,
right?
Like America flexing its muscle, we're like used to that. And me being on the inside and actually being on missions, like you were, like in the MU, and even when I was in combat arms units, like we were on missions, and we kind of know like all the things it takes just to get simpler missions done.
Oh yeah.
Just to see that whole mission, I'm like, oh, that is impressive. But as a civilian, like take a step back as like a citizen of the United States, you know, not military affiliated. I'm like in my brain, like Other countries know we have a very strong military, and we still got it. We didn't lose a step. We're as sharp as we've ever been.
Right.
I feel like that's the message it's sent. As an American, I feel like that's only benefits us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are some cons. I don't know if you heard. There's like groups in Venezuela like trying to round up U.S. national citizens and like kill them.
Well, I'm sure. That's what I was going to get to.
Cons.
I was going to get to later of like the actual like why I'm against this whole operation.
Right. There's some damn cons for sure.
And like I get into a lot of conversations with people because it usually like when you talk about this Venezuela thing, if you show like disinterest or like you're against it, people assume like, oh, you must love Maduro. So Maduro was a piece of shit. Like he was an awful dictator. Like everything I mean, you probably know more than I do here. Like he rigged elections. He was like an illegitimate leader, dictator, all of that. Killed protesters.
Did you see the meme on that one too? They like said all that stuff, and they're like, and then he captured Maduro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're right.
Hey, greetings. The big guest is Brian, who's a friend of mine. How's the boss doing? Leader of the Cobra unit. Is she well? I think they're talking about
Who's the leader of the Cobra unit?
Tiana.
Oh,
I don't know why they called her because like I think someone's like she looks like a badass. I'm like, okay.
I could see her in Cobra. Like if her hair was slicked back a little bit.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah. G.I. Jane.
Greetings, Mr. Sidious. Anyway, yeah. So talking about like Maduro's bad, right? We can agree there.
Maduro bad.
Maduro bad. We put him like
Maduro bad. We're talking like Marines now. Okay, Maduro bad.
Oh, Maduro bad.
Water wet. Maduro
I wrote his name in red because he's bad.
Right.
I did not eat the crayon. So, but my issue is when you move on to the other things. You talk about sanctions, like enforcing sanctions. To me, sanctions is like step one, and then you move on to like more drastic things.
Is it step one?
I think in terms of like if you're trying to have like an influence on a country and like words aren't working.
Well, yeah, because I remember they said Biden took what he like scaled back the sanctions because there were sanctions from Trump's first term against Venezuela. Biden pulled them back. Remember, he's like Sleepy Joe, falling asleep at the wheel. You know what I mean? And that pissed him off that he pulled them back. But the reason why he pulled them back was it's kind of like if you're starving and I'm like, I'm not going to give you any more food.
Well, it's like I said, it's also kind of useless in terms of if we're doing it by ourselves. Like it's not like, yeah, it's big, but they're still trading with the EU.
China.
We can't have any influence over China. Like we can, but it's like extremely, like we have to be like, our shit has to be squared away. Our allies shit has to be squared away. We can't do anything on a international scale like that to have massive impacts economically just by ourselves without it like being massively hurting us too.
So Eddie made me listen to this stupid podcast on the way to Wiesbaden. And he was talking about this is not like a traditional Cold War. He goes, because a traditional Cold War between...
What's a traditional Cold War?
There's only
one Cold War.
Right. Well, the last one. Okay?
Sure,
or the only one, right?
Right?
You had us versus Russia. We were known enemies. We were not interreliant economically. It was them versus us.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have Russian cars here. We didn't have Russian equipment, manufacturing. We didn't have any economic heavy ties to them.
Yeah.
Nothing significant where you were like, oh, this is, a known Russian thing besides the vodka. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that. But with China, we have huge economic intertwined, like our economies are intertwined.
Sure.
You know what I mean? From import-export standpoint. He goes, so this one is a different one because we're laying in bed with our enemy and we're like stabbing each other under the covers. You know what I mean? Like this is like a different type of war where, them versus us, we're on two different sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's why I think that China has like far changed since the 70s. In the 60s, like since Mao Zedong died, like China has undergone a huge transformation. That was a big thing with like Henry Kissinger, and like opening trade with China, making it to where China has become far more capitalist. Like China's not even communist at this point. They're still essentially planned, but they are a capitalist to a degree. They're more like economically aligned with like how the Nazis were in terms of like how they control their economy. But in terms of like, they do not resemble the China 50 years ago. And
because of their economic power and their military might, because those two things change drastically.
Their economics have changed drastically, and their military power I don't think has changed that much. I think their military power is kind of inconsistent.
I don't think it's a far leap to say when you become an economic superpower, which they weren't 50 years ago, but they are now, you have the ability to upgrade your military to become stronger than others. Like
they have the ability to, but I don't think they have. Like
I think they have. I think like they have capabilities they didn't have before that maybe we had before, or we were at least exploring, and they've closed that gap.
You know shit, I mean? That's a lot of messages.
Yeah, I was reading something about Latvia and Lithuania, but my point is like, I don't think it's a far leap to say their economic has dramatically improved. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And because of that, their military has been dramatically improved because now they're not. I think they have more resources to work with.
I think if they wanted to, they could. But their military has such little funding that I don't think it has improved that drastically to scale up with their economy. That's what I'm saying. Their military is still like.
Well, it's always a fraction. You know what I mean? Like.
Right, but you got to think about like the amount of funding we put into our military is like 20 times more than China's. Like China's funding for the military is extremely little.
I don't think it's extremely little. You're talking about the ratio. You're talking about the ratio of like their GDP to their.
I'm talking about the gross amount. I'm talking about the amount of funding that.
I know they have a bigger freestanding army than us. They have like a million strong or something like that.
Oh yeah, they have a ton of people.
Yeah, that was always their strength.
Yeah. They did great in the Korean War, but I mean, like things, even then, like it was just slaughter. But
I think they have the Navy. They
don't have the Navy.
I think they have the Air Force. Like they have upgraded things that like. Are they okay? Nobody is the U.S. Nobody has the amount of aircraft carriers we have. What do we have? 11.
I think we have more than 11. I think like.
Is it 12? No. It's like because they always have.
Well, there's maybe a certain class of aircraft. We have a lot of
actual aircraft carriers,
like the Eisenhower.
Yeah, I think there's 11 because I think like I remember like learning that it's like there's 9 in circulation and there's always one coming back and one going out, one being refit. You know what I mean? Like there's always one down at all times, and then there's like a switch. One is going out underway, one is coming in. So anyway, but yeah, so like nobody has what we have. Carrier strike groups like the way we have it. Nobody has Air Force bombers and the stealth bombers. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
But do they have some? Like I remember looking at their Air Force and like number of aircraft. Now, do they have the best quality aircraft like what we have? So it's like we have more quality. They have more quantity. So they have more aircraft than we do, but we have.
But like that quantity isn't a quality at this point. And the way like war has like been so like.
Well, yeah, I mean, we know. Remember the Soviets? They had more tanks than us, but none of them could roll out the gate.
That's the thing with the Chinese. Like if you look at a huge portion, I think it was.
We all know about the USR, right?
I'm saying with the Chinese, their aircraft, a lot of them are still like, nobody's laughing at my jokes. The Chinese like
most. You said 11. Yeah, there you go.
11 nuclear capable carriers. Okay, well let's read what everyone said. I referred to both of you as a collection, Big Boss and the Boss, but it was a while ago. There is more downsides to this. Lithuania and Latvia left the anti-drug operation named Southern Spear, the ex-Soviet bloc. We, Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia are not so keen to work with Americans when it comes to defense. Now, the Nordic states are getting pissed because of the Greenland and so on. The funny thing is this is from Edward Kaczynski. The funny thing is we discussing Venezuela, but there's also shit going on in Iran and Elon wanting to put Starlink there. Mr. Sidious says, the huge shift happened even after Stalin died. USSR would change in similar way to China from what we've seen with policies when the anti-Stalin sentiment became popular. But that was like back in the 50s when the anti-Stalin sentiment became... Anyway, sorry. And 11 nuclear capable carriers. Okay, back to what we're talking about. I don't think... I agree with you that right now it's like America's like head and shoulders above every other country when it comes to military, including China and Russia. I think you combine China and Russia's military and then like times 10 over, we'd still be more powerful.
I don't think the gap's that big. You still think that gap's that big?
I think it is. I mean,
based on like the open source reporting where they like talk about like ships and vessels, and I get it. Those are only some data. You know, they're not
right. But the ships aren't important. What's important is the tonnage. Because so the weight of the ships, like the amount of shit that's on the ships, like they have far more ships. They're all tiny compared to ours. Like it's like, yeah, you guys have 5 times as many ships as we do, but we have 16 times the amount of time.
So I remember reading, and this was separate from my studies, but it was like the Chinese government, like their navy, which I think their whole army is called the People's Liberation Army,
Okay.
and then it's like the People's Liberation Army Navy. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like they're all the PLA.
The plan.
Yeah, it's like Anyway, they would like go to merchant ships, like civilian ships, whenever, and take them over and turn them into military vessels whenever they wanted.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So they would be a trade vessel, whatever, and then they're like, "Oh, we're boarding," which I learned the U.S. Navy and the Coast Guard can do too. So you can go on a U.S. flag carried vessel and be like, "Yeah, we're taking this over because we need it." Almost like in the movies when they're like, "I need your car," the cops.
The
like,
commandeering.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys can do that in the Navy and in the Coast Guard, specifically the Coast Guard, because they have the law enforcement.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What do you call it? The other title, not Title 10, but the other one that they do for DHS, the law enforcement one.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I forgot what it was, but that one.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, we are economically in bed with China, which is why I say that's why when we do things like economic sanctions or things with China involved, it doesn't work. Unless we do it as a coalition, with multiple governments, and we never do that.
The death by 1,000 cuts kind of works because remember, when you have a big economy like us and you have a big war machine like us, what does it consume? Resources. Like in order for us to go across the world and do the things we need to do, think about it. Like whenever we go and do anything as an army, right? How expensive is it? How much resources do we take up from
tons.
like the roads, the rail, the air, right? You take up all that. So when you even take a little bit of that away, it takes their capacity away. Because they're like, okay, you took one airport. Okay, one airport, big deal. Okay, well, now you can do just a little bit less. Oh, we take that airport away from you, or that S-pod, or that A-pod, right? You start taking these little things away, it keeps reducing their capability, and then they can't move the big giant anymore.
Sure, but okay. What I'm saying is like it won't be effective enough to have like
it won't kill them right away, like a one shot.
Well, I think we'll say like with Venezuela, right? Us putting economic sanctions on Venezuela won't really have that much of an effect if we do it by ourselves because they can still trade with everybody else.
And they were Russia and China.
Russia, China, and the European Union. And so it's like all we did was cut ourselves out of any sort of resource with Venezuela. So it's like,
well, they had a lot of assets from what I read. They had a lot of those Venezuelan oil companies. It was like the PDVSA or something like that. It's like the Venezuela in the 70s. This was part of the research I did. The president president of Venezuela made a organization in the government to oversee the oil companies. You know what I mean? And it was like the Venezuelan oil company. I forget what it's called. It was like PDVSA or something like that. And when they did that, they have assets in the U.S. because they would trade oil with us. Because we helped start them up. I think it was like Standard Oil and another U.S. company. I can't remember the name.
I don't know. Exxon.
No, it wasn't Exxon yet. It was Standard Oil and another one. I can't remember.
Okay.
But those were the ones that were in Venezuela that helped build them up because we had the expertise in the United States. So, of course, we had investors there building it up. That's why Chevron's there today. You know what I mean? And so they were building it up. And then when they did the sanctions and froze their assets, well, a lot of their assets were in the United States and U.S. banks. You know what I mean? Like their money and stuff. So now we take their money away from them because they had it stored here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it did hit them hard.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is like, it wasn't enough, and it won't be enough when we do it just by ourselves to really have any sort of massive change. Because they could still do all that trade with other countries, and I think it's effective, but it would be far, far more effective if we did it as a coalition. We did it with other countries involved. And my issue is like moving from this, like we can move on. I think like sanctions are like the first step to applying pressure, and then you go from that. Like if you really want to influence, like military action to me is like the last option.
Well, for President Trump, is it the last option?
It's not.
Yeah, it's hats back on.
Hats back on. No, I think with what's going on with Trump, like this is the conspiracy side. I'm wearing this now. I think that this was an inside job with the Venezuelan government because we didn't overthrow the government. All we did was take out Maduro. His second in charge is now the president, and she still is like, we love our Chinese and Russian ties, and we're good. So like nothing changed for the Venezuelan people, but all we've done is like move Venezuela like closer to China and Russia. it like to me, it's just like, oh, we'll keep you in power. It'll be a quick win for Trump, and everything else be damned. And I think this is going to be like massive issues in the next few years because I think when it comes to doing a regime change, to do effectively, you need to have like a deliberate, long term like plan, like just doing this and keep like we kept the same people in power, minus Maduro, and yeah, like I don't think anything's going to change.
I think something will change. I mean, I think from what I've read, the actual Venezuelan people are happy that he's gone because a president is a symbol.
Sure, yeah.
It's an identifiable symbol of like these hats.
Yeah, people were
These
happy when
hats
Saddam was taken
mean
out.
something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? They have a message. They're a symbol. They not only represent a man but a time period. You know what I mean? We're in the MAGA time period. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like in history, like when we're talking about like, oh yeah, this is when MAGA was all the rage. The hats were out. You know what I mean? Like,
right, yeah.
Orange Man was,
being himself.
And so that symbol of Maduro coming away and being taken away, that means something. And it also does inevitably create different dynamics because his voice is no longer in the room. So let's say people in there are more, how do you say it, open to discussion. Because from what I understand from him, he ran the country the way he saw fit with him and his top like bureaucrats, like his top like, people in charge running the country. And that's how it worked. So like any kind of outside influence was just like, shunned out. So maybe now there might be seams where it's like, okay. And so I do think there will be some change. But did you see okay, so why do you think we went there?
I think we went there because it'd be a quick win. Yeah. It'd be a quick win. And then
politically for the president.
Politically for the president. I don't think Trump has a vision for South America or Venezuela. I don't think he has a vision for that. I just think this was like an opportunity. I think there's people within the Venezuelan government like, hey, we'll give him up and put us in power. And it's still the same corrupt regime. And so like
just a different face.
Just a different face, different name, but it's still the Maduro regime. And it's like, hey, we'll work together, you take them, and then we're good. Which is what's happening right now. Like the same party is in charge. The same party is still strengthening their ties with China and Russia. On TV, they're kissing the Chinese and Russian diplomats and ambassadors. And it's like
I think China was there like 2 days before.
They were there because the next day they were supposed to have a meeting with Maduro.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't think anything's going to change. I think it looks good, but it's like if we don't have
a hollow win.
Yeah, but that's what I think it is. It's like a hollow win because in the next even the next day we're like, what are we doing? And it's like you have Marco Rubio like we're not putting troops on the ground, and you have Trump like we're putting troops on the ground. We're gonna get all the oil. It's like what?
But did you see
that? People, you have your Secretary of State, you have the President, and they're all saying different things. It's like what is going on? So I don't think there was like a deliberate like, okay, step one we take out Maduro. Step two we start building the infrastructure from here. Step three we try to get these people in power. It's like, I think it was just like take out Maduro, and that was the start and stop of it. It looks good.
So do you think that?
Oh my gosh! Oh, she loves you.
Yeah. Do you think that?
Trying to lick your face.
You think it's funny? Did you see the meetings with the oil representatives from Chevron? What was it? ConocoPhillips and ExxonMobil with President Trump and Marco Rubio.
All I did was read. So I saw where Marco Rubio handed him the note,
and he read it out loud.
He's like, "Talk to Chevron." Yeah.
What do you mean?
But then and you see Marco Rubio's face like he's like, "Oh fuck." Now the difference is, I do think Marco Rubio has a vision for South America.
And to be fair, I think President Trump operates that way because even think about it, to run a country, we talk about organizations a lot smaller than that. You got to delegate. You cannot literally do everything.
But I think as the President of the United States, you should have a vision when you're dealing on an international scale of what you kind of want things.
Did you see what the CEO of Chevron said?
He said it's not safe. He said they're not going to do it. They're not going to move in.
He said it's not investable, meaning it's not a safe bet. It's not a very safe, calculated risk. And it has a lot to do with their weak confidence in Trump.
I think so. And it's because what happens if we have these oil companies start going down there and drilling, and then they start getting attacked by Venezuelan militia?
Well, then President Trump directly said, if we have to do another strike, we have to protect those people. You know what I mean? Those Americans there, we'll do it.
Yeah, but it's like, but to me, it's like that. We're just gonna get trapped in a forever war in Venezuela again. Like, what are we doing?
Bro, it's very weird. Like we used to say we're in Iraq for oil, but it was
Kind of
like
tongue in cheek,
kind of like we all felt it,
right?
but we couldn't prove anything. The president like straight up said it. Like, do
Mm-hmm.
you think American forces would just be like, yeah, I could potentially die just so we could get some oil?
But people are supporting it. I mean,
But the people
I
in the
could,
military right now.
yes, like that's what's great. Well, Republicans.
No, I mean like armed soldiers, like in the forces, like in your Marine Muse and all that stuff. Like,
Well, I think Republicans are so easily swayable. They have no values when it comes to a lot of these things because the polling that was done in December to January 4th of like would it be acceptable for the president to invade a country unilaterally without the consent of Congress or anything like that, like just to do an invasion. Like Republicans went from like 20% approved to like 70% approved within like 2 weeks, which is like, it's like you. Like
let's ride. Start the AC/DC. Let's go.
Which like, yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
The videos,
there's like that America.
The propaganda videos are A1.
Yeah, the edits on Instagram are fantastic.
Right, where Menudo's defiant and he's like, "Come get me, you coward!"
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear the music, like, and the helicopter spinning up, and and you're like,
"Don't worry, be happy."
Did you see the one where it's like they captured Menudo's phone and it has President Trump and it says, "Come outside." Like his message, unread message, "Come outside."
Well, it's funny because like now they're trying to try him in court, trying to try Maduro in court, and they're dropping charges like crazy. Like they're like, okay, we can't charge him with this, we can't charge him with that. It's like, what are they going to be able to charge him with at the end of this?
It's kind of like the cop who's like, we're gonna arrest you on charges because for arrest, what do you need? Probable cause.
Probable cause, yeah.
What do you need to convict without a reasonable doubt, right? So it's like there's a big gap between probable cause and without a reasonable doubt. So they're like, all I need to do is get you to court just to, because remember, the court of public opinion, right? Just getting accused makes you guilty.
Depends on the crime, but yeah, I see what you're saying. It depends on the court too. It depends on what the case is.
I mean, we all know the famous one. OJ going to court, he got acquitted, glove don't fit, must have quit. Everybody believes he did it, even though in a court of law.
Well, doesn't that go against your point then? If you're saying that if it was the court of public opinion is what convicts people, he wasn't convicted. He was found not guilty.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The court of public opinion, the threshold of guilt is if you get accused.
Well, it's not just accused. Like if they can prove that at the time of the murder, you were standing over them. Like they can prove that he was standing over their bodies.
And he had blood on him.
He had blood on him. Well, the thing with OJ is they tried to frame a guilty man. Like, and when you can show so much police incompetence, you can be like, that's my understanding of it. Is like the police did do a lot of fuck shit, and that's why he was able to get.
If they would have just processed it,
if they just did it normally,
if they're just, if they would have just did it their job unbiased. It was
like we got to plant a glove at his house.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why?
Yeah,
like we
gotta make sure.
Yeah, it's like
and in doing so, they shot themselves in the foot.
Oh yeah,
unintended. But but that's what I'm saying. Like the court of public opinion, and you take Maduro there, and you're wasting his time. He's in a Riker? What was he in Rikers or some other facility in New York? And
he's with Diddy right now.
My Diddy joke.
I ruined it for you.
You ruined it for me.
Sorry.
But no, but you know what I mean? Like you're wasting his time. He's in court. He's held up. He's disconnected from his people, right? So he can't be given orders if he's stuck in a jail cell. Yeah. You know, and I'm sure the United States is making no accommodations for him to make a phone call. You know what I mean?
To speak to my lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
No material.
So I mean, it's all a charade. That's why, like, you can manipulate the justice. This is a perfect gambit by you just put him in the system and it'll run its course. And that's the manipulation of the government. Like, we're not influencing the government system. He might come out scot-free, but we've wasted time. You know what I mean? By just putting you in the system, it'll do its thing all on its own. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think our system works really well if you have time and money. And Maduro's got both. So I think that it's going to be very hard to convict him on anything, especially since he was a national leader, that it's like, I don't think he's going to see the inside of a prison cell.
Someone told me a lot of former presidents and diplomats from other countries were moving to Belgium because, did you hear about this? It was last week, and they were doing that because there's no extradition to the United States or anything like that.
A lot of countries, yeah. France doesn't have an extradition to the United States either.
Yeah, so they're moving to like these countries, these diplomats and presidents, because if Maduro does speak about other, because he was president of a country, he talked to other presidents and other things. You can find out he could release some information that may indict these other diplomats, and so they're trying to go to other. They don't want to get caught up in the web, so if they get named, they go somewhere that they can't go, get extradited. But the whole thing, I think the U.S. going, I do think on the surface it was about oil. I do think it was about regime change and toppling a government, so to speak. Maybe not toppling is the right word, but I can't think of a better word. But regime change. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to get new politicians in there that are more favorable to us with less, like you said, less tie. The aim is at least less ties to China and to Russia. You know what I mean?
That was a bad shot then.
Yeah. Nevertheless, it's the aim. I think is to weaken their ties or stop them, because from what I read, China invested probably about $50 billion with a B into the infrastructure in Venezuela on a loan to the government, so Maduro, and they wanted to be paid back in oil. So it's like pay me in Bitcoin type thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so when we go in there and we confiscate their oil, right? Okay, the deal they made with Venezuela already got the money, spent the money, used the money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now they're trying to get paid back in oil, and then we take the payment method. So now they can't pay them back. You know what I mean? And so that puts them in a rock and a hard place. It's like, okay, like if you die but you owed me $50, I'd go to Troy Jr. and be like, hey, your dad owed me $50. Can I get that?
Sure. But I think it's a bad aim, because Maduro regime is still in charge. There's ties with China and Russia. They've only gotten stronger. Yeah, I think with these things you need to be deliberate and careful, and those two words do not describe this administration. I don't think so. I think if it was about oil, it was the worst way to go about it. I think.
I think that was one of the aims, because think about it. Nothing is about one singular thing.
Sure.
So it's a zero-sum game in a lot of ways. If I have influence, you have less influence. If I have something I have access to something, you don't have access to something. You know what I mean? Like you give and take something away. And so I think it's about oil. I think it's about regime change and, the political part of it. And then I think it's about influence in the region too. So the Chinese Navy, the Chinese in general, right? Like they are the only ones who can really reach across the globe the way we can. Because we're in the Pacific, we're in Europe, we're
everywhere. Yeah.
We're everywhere. So we have a unique skill set. The next closest is China, and the ability to go out across the globe and do what we do. Not many countries can expand the way we do.
Right.
So they were getting a foothold in not just Venezuela, but remember the Panama Canal? They talked about the two ports on each end. What was it? The Chinese company that owned them both. And we're like, China's getting too much of a foothold, too much of an influence, too much of a foothold. And so we're trying to sweep out their influence by making the governments that they did business with not a thing. It's like, you made a deal with the last guy. Well, I'm the new guy.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's another thing too, is messaging is key. It needs to be deliberate. Like that's our goal, to prevent other countries from having this influence, and do that. Say that and do that. But we didn't say that. We're not doing that. So it's like I think at the end of the day, this was an easy win politically, and that's it. I think that's as far as it goes. I don't think, the president thinks about anything more than on a day-by-day basis. And look at with the Ukraine thing. I'll end it in one day. And he's giving up on that shit. He's and changes his mind every single day and sucks out Putin. And then we move on and move on. It's okay, nothing's changing with that. How many times we declared peace in the Middle East? There's no vision for any of the things. It's just one. It's one Instagram or Twitter post to be we're awesome, and that's as far as the administration goes.
No, none of these are simple issues. They're all complex.
They are, but that's important. If you want to have realistic change, it's got to be more than a Twitter post. It's got to be
And that's what what do you call it? CEO of Chevron said. He goes, Venezuela is basically too risky. It's uninvestable because foreign policy can change with a tweet.
Yeah, I mean, look at what's going on now with Greenland. Like, why are we talking about Greenland? Invading Greenland again?
Did you see? Oh man, I don't know if I shared it to you as the risk map.
Yeah. Kamchatka.
Like this will all become clear when he takes
Kamchatka.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, let's read. So Ted Kaczynski, I didn't say Starlink. I think I said shit link. Nice. Mr. Sidious, I don't know if quality really would be a great strategy. It is good when you can execute operation with 99.99% of effectiveness. When you had 100 planes, all with 10% chance of carrying successes, at least one would be successful. That 10% chance is extremely high for whatever we're talking about. Bruh, that hat is crazy. I know you all just memeing though. We are. At least I am. Who did you vote for? Did you vote for Trump?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't vote in this last election.
I voted for my Queen Kamala, dude.
I didn't vote in this last one.
Anything Rubio would suggest isn't going to be any different. It would involve some sort of elaborate plan that will inevitably benefit Israel, or Israel, he said.
Israel. I was going to say that doesn't say Israel.
Well, I would disagree. I think Marco Rubio has like, you want to meet the most conservative people in the world? It's conservative Hispanics. Like they will, like the most anti-Cuban regime is going to be Cubans. Well, thanks for the follow. And Marco Rubio, I think, yeah, he's on that. Thank God you're live again. What's up? Not much, man. How are you? I'm doing good, dude. I thought you were dead. LOL. Master Liberty. Good to see you again. And in Europe, people talk more about Greenland than the Epstein files. Yeah, I saw that Denmark was saying they're going to rename it to the Epstein files, so stop.
He doesn't want it. Yeah. I saw that.
Because wait, he's saying all your because threatening our allies that is more pressing, for example, to me than some pedo. I think you guys are in agreement, to be honest.
Well, the pedo thing, the Epstein files thing, is a complete like.
Are we gonna shift to this now? Hell yeah.
No, but that whole Epstein files thing is it really about justice for the people named, like the
them blocking out the names?
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna.
Of course not.
It's all about embarrassing politicians and whoever's. It's all a smear campaign. It's a big giant smear campaign.
That's true. Yeah.
It's like I just want to embarrass you. Your name's on a list. It's like the height and weight failures. Like, oh, your name is on, height and weight. You failed it. Like, you're embarrassed.
Sure.
So like, that's all that is. Like,
yeah, there's a big shift between being a chunky boy and fucking kids, but
sure.
Obesity is just as bad.
You talk to Pete Hegseth?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. That was so funny. It was like, we can't have fat leaders in our Pentagon halls, and the president's like, hello. It's like, oh no, man, it's such a whatever.
No,
okay,
but
anyway,
with the Epstein file stuff, like, it's just a big giant smear campaign and looking to embarrass politicians and stuff. Because
sure,
okay, if you're named in the file, I see guilt by association, right? If you're named in the file, let's say President Trump is named in the file. Are they going to indict him and arrest him and bring counts of like?
No, I think if they showed footage of like Trump fucking a child, people would be mad. They're like, why wasn't it my child? Like. They love him. It's
not even in HD. This isn't even 4K. How do I know? Remember, that's a different Trump. That was a different Trump. That wasn't even the same
That's
Trump.
before he found God.
Did you see that? I think it was the press secretary. She's like, that was a different Trump they were referencing.
I can't stand her.
All I'm saying is the audacity, high.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no, it's up there.
I will say anything. Ron Burgundy, read it right off the prompter.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
Yeah.
Yeah, what got me was that you had the Republicans, MAGA, especially like running hard on this shit about Epstein. Like, we're gonna release the files. Cash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, all these people like, we're gonna release the files day one. And they're like, well, actually, there's nothing. There's nothing. There's not even files. There's nothing. And it's like, okay, well, we're gonna make you release the files. I'm like, okay, but we'll only release a little bit. It's like, God damn, dude. And people just like slurp this up. They're like,
I think they said it was funny. The funniest thing I heard about it is they redacted a lot of it, right? And then they released it, and then some computer software unredacted it. And they're like,
Yeah, and then people were finding pictures like, wait, here's new pictures of Trump. They're like immediately removed. Like the next day, it's like, you guys released redacted files and had to re-redact them.
Yeah.
It's like, God, it's so embarrassing. And I think some of that is just malicious compliance. Some of these FBI agents that are doing this shit are just like, fuck, I know, fuck this. Like,
I'm just a GS12.
I'm just gonna highlight everything. I know they can just copy and paste; it'll be red. Push it through.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, like that's insane to me.
Yeah, but that whole Epstein files things, like if someone and people named, if they were going to go after him legally and they would go to court, removed from office, like then I would care about the Epstein files because it would mean something, right? Like, oh, your senator was named, then it's like, oh, my state, you know, then it would matter, right? But then like it's like, oh, it's just a smear campaign, like. It's really, that's all it is. So like these real things.
But it gets me because this was a smear campaign against the Democrats for years.
Oh, how the turntables.
Because like, do you remember like Pizzagate?
Pizzagate.
Pizzagate, yeah. So this was like a big thing in like the 2016 election that like Hillary Clinton and her husband are like best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. They're in the part of this global world trafficking. Child trafficking international thing with Jeffrey Epstein. They eat babies and all this shit. And then like that went on forever.
Babies.
No, dude, look it up. There was a Frazzle Drip. Dude, I got so into the conspiracy where I love this shit. But yeah, there was the Frazzle Drip video where, you know, there's videos of Hillary Clinton wearing a baby's face. Like, you're laughing, but these people voted, all right? And we know who they voted for. But the moment this guy gets in power, they're like, this is our guy. They just go, they got like new marching orders, like, they're Epstein files, not a thing. It's like, you guys ran on this shit for 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're trying to use logic and rationale,
you're
going to lose that battle.
No, I know.
There was so much, like, I watch a lot of The Daily Show. You watch that?
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of The Daily Show, but yeah, I watch it.
I love The Daily Show because the satire is hilarious. Where, remember when the New York mayor was running and the Virginia governor was running, the election was happening last year? Mm-hmm. They did a bit. I just saw the reel on Facebook again, and it just made me laugh so hard. It was people in Kentucky lining up at the polls.
Oh, because they were mad they couldn't vote.
And they were mad they couldn't vote in the New York and the Virginia governor race.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the Secretary of State had to let them know, like, hey, just so you know, our election is next year. I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Thank God we're cutting the Department of Education.
And he's like, Kentucky. Oh boy, Kentucky. Because I think we should do the voting age 1 year older than whatever they are.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's the type of people on both sides. Because obviously those people were very liberal, not conservatives.
Wait, in Kentucky?
Yeah, the people who lined up were I think liberals.
Wait, you think so?
Yeah, liberals do live in Kentucky. There's just
no, I understand, but you think that was the bulk of these people were liberals
that
wanted to go vote in the New York election.
Yeah, I think they thought it was based on what they said.
Oh, you know, I haven't seen the videos, but I would have assumed they were like all hard right wing because like the president
to stop it.
Yeah,
I mean, no, it wasn't them. Unfortunately, it was
liberals.
It was liberals like who thought like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and support this New York mayor. And very progressive type people, and so took an L there. They took an L there.
Yeah, there's like once you have like liberals, and then you go like a little bit left of that, and you just get like straight dumbasses. It's like,
I think you find them on both sides, brother.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. But like the shifting of like three, if you're going to the Republican Party, like you take like 2 steps, you're in the dumbass area. Like, I think there's far more dumbasses in the Republican Party
per capita, like we go back to the
both,
per capita.
Both, total numbers and per capita. Because like for me, like for most of my life I've considered myself a conservative, and it's like,
being white and
yeah, because I'm white, Christian, hate black people, so those 3 things.
That is it.
No, but no, because like I'm very pro-gun, very like big on the Constitution, Bill of Rights, all of that, First Amendment, all about like individual liberty. And like wanting a smaller,
paying less taxes,
federal government, not necessarily less taxes, but I mean like
that's what makes me a Republican.
My view on taxes is like taxes be as high as they need to be to pay for the things we want. Like, and other than that, we should be in a deficit.
I disagree. I feel like our whole country was founded on not paying taxes.
No, our whole
I think the most American thing you can do is not pay taxes.
That's like a libertarian's view of the Revolutionary, where they're like, they hate the taxes. Like, no, man, like
avoiding taxes. Like, I feel like that's a real.
The whole point was like there was no representation for the taxes. Like, we didn't have any representatives in the British government.
I feel like because they wanted somebody to lower the taxes. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure,
like,
sure.
You know what I mean? Like.
Well, this is like when you talk about like the Civil War. Like, was it about slavery or about states' rights? It's like it's about slavery, dude. Like, we're talking about representation. It's about representation, not taxes. Like, taxes is part of it. The real thing was just having representation. Oh, you reading these things?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll scroll up. We see guild by association, Q based. Is that because Canada is aligned with the EU? Oh shit, Twitch banning incoming. Because I said I made an edgy joke.
Yeah, yes, you did.
Money, taxes, army. This. Okay. No, but what I'm saying is that like the foundation of our government. I mean, whatever. We're gonna argue for the Revolutionary War. I wanted to start a podcast in the next few weeks talking about like different points in history and going through. We're gonna start off with the Revolutionary War. But anyway, actually the French and Indian War.
But I mean, back to taxes. We were talking about taxes.
No, I was talking about like why I consider myself right wing for most of my life, and it's only become like in the last like 8 years where I felt like I was actually pretty pro Trump until
first term
Trump until January 6th. January 6th for me was like, okay, this is like a bridge too far. Like this is crazy, you know.
He's a lot more bold this time around.
Yeah, because I think like when the Supreme Court says that you can just commit any crime you want, you're fine. To me, that's like, yeah, what do you expect to happen? Like, so to me, January 6th was like way too far, and it's like, okay, and I started because at first I was mad when Trump first ran because I was like, but the guy hasn't even done anything yet. Like, yeah, he said crazy things during the primaries, but like, who doesn't?
Well, we were learning about him.
Yeah, we're learning about him. Like, yeah, he was saying crazy stuff, but like, let's see what he actually does. Give him a chance, and he did a lot of good things his first term. You know, Operation Warp Speed was great. You know, maybe that's about it, but. I think that he did all right, and until towards the end he started just fuck about. I mean, even at the beginning there was a lot of fucking shit with trying to repeal DACA and the ACA. It's kind of like okay, like that's a little weird. And now it's even come full circle with ICE of like the weaponization of ICE and all that.
I don't know. What do you think of like the American population, Hispanic population being targeted by ICE?
I think it's anti-American. I think
100% anti-American.
Like I said, I still hold all these core values. Like I'm very big on the Second Amendment and individual liberty, and like the thought of like an ICE agent approaching somebody and just snatching them up is crazy to me without any like probable cause, no nothing. It's just like, show me your papers. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? And snatch them up.
Wrong answer.
In Arizona, when I was a kid, this was a big deal. Because the state of Arizona wanted to pass a law where you had to carry some form of identification on you. If you didn't, you could be detained and held.
Like an ID?
Any sort of ID.
Like a state government issued
state ID, yeah. But you had to have.
Well, a lot of countries have vagrancy laws.
But not for U.S. citizens.
Yeah, no. Vagrancy laws are like in the state of Illinois. We have vagrancy laws. If you do not have any identification, you could be considered a vagrant if there's no way for them to identify you. Oh. But it's usually like you can get a state ID and not be a citizen. That's not proving citizenship. Having a state ID is not a proof of citizenship.
Right, it isn't. That's true.
You need a passport or something else. You know, right, naturalization papers or.
Yeah, so this was, and I could be misremembering. This was when I was a kid. It was like. You had to have something that proved you were a U.S. citizen on you. And so, like, people were saying, if I get pulled over and I don't have my birth certificate on me, I could just be detained. And it was, like, huge protests all over the state when I was a kid. And, like, to me, I remember seeing that. Like, because I'm not Mexican, I'm white. So, like, I felt about it a little bit differently. I'm like, why can't y'all just comply? You know? But it's like, now I'm kind of like, yeah, dude, that's kind of valid. Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, why am I being treated differently just because of color of my skin? That's kind of crazy.
And you're like, this is great.
Yeah, this is great. Please, just not white people.
Well, here's the thing. And you know what? That's what I find with not just this issue, but with any issue in life. People do never empathize when it doesn't apply to them.
Yeah, totally.
From a majority standpoint. Now, there are people who can. They see that, hey, I get treated differently because I'm different than you. And I understand that. You know what I mean? And they know it's different. You know what I mean? But most people like, and granted, you know, I'm painting with a very broad brush, but I'll use white men, whether they're old or young, when they say stuff like that. Why don't you just comply? Why don't you just do this? Why don't you do this? Like, look, man, in your situation, that might be enough, and it might be a simple thing. But if you're black and the person who's doing that, they're not going to let go. Hey, just comply, and then it all works out. You know what I mean? Like it might be the same action by the two different people, one being black, one being white, one being Mexican, one being white. You know what I mean? And two different outcomes. And it could be the same officer. You can make all the other controls the same. The only thing variable you change is this guy's a black male, you're a white male. And that's the only change to the equation or the incident, and it can have a different outcome.
Well, how do you grapple with the fact that Hispanics are actually just scary?
They're violent people.
They're very
No, I'm dead serious. I'm Hispanic. I'm born and raised in the United States. Never been to Mexico in my life, not even for vacation.
You're Mexican?
Yeah. No, I'm born in the United States. I'm a United States citizen.
No, that's what you're.
My ethnicity is Mexican. Yeah. So like my family's descent, and that's important.
Is that near Venezuela or?
It's they're brown. So we're close enough, right?
That's why you're so upset about it.
No. So here's the thing, though. So when I grew up, I grew up in poor Hispanic neighborhoods in Chicago. And Chicago's a very segregated city. So like you have the black part of town, you have the Chinese part of town, you have Ukrainian village. Like it's in the name.
Sure.
Chinatown, Ukrainian village, little village, La Vita. That's the Mexican part. You know what I mean? Or the Hispanic part. Jewtown, that was a spot too. Guess what they had there?
Banks?
Jewelers.
Jewelers, nice. Okay.
Called it Jewtown. Guess what they were all owned by?
The Jews?
The Jews.
Okay. I'm making a lot of safe bets here.
Yeah, anyway, my point is, it was very segregated.
Sure.
When I was in my Mexican poor neighborhoods that I lived in, got into a lot of trouble there. Like gang violence, that's where I experienced it, where see gang members, see that kind of stuff. When I would go to other parts of town, I generally wasn't messed with, even though I shouldn't be there. And the only time that I like ventured too deep in the waters was I went to my high school is in Bronzeville, Chicago, and it's a neighborhood in Chicago. It's called Bronzeville, and it's a historically black district, congressional district. And I remember at my high school was there, so I think my first year.
So it was called Brownsville.
Bronzeville.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But the school, my high school was in Bronzeville, and so I would go to school there, take the bus, all that stuff. And I remember we got out at like a half day or whatever. So I go to my buddy's house, and right next to the school are like the big project buildings, the big ones.
Sure, yeah.
And I remember they're like, hey, we're going to go to so-and-so's house. And my school, my freshman year was like 93, 94% black and like 6% Mexican other. We had one Asian dude. And then he graduated, and that Asian population went way down.
Yeah, 100% decrease.
Yeah, very few white, very few Mexican. And it got more and more balanced as I like became a senior. But like I remember in the first year it was like huge. Like
you're the initial push.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like me and my buddy were the only two non-black people and the teacher in the whole classroom. You know what I mean? And it would be like that for lots of classes. You know what I mean? Not just like one class. Anyway, so we're gonna go to my buddy's house. He lives in the projects, so we all go. And I remember walking with them because I'm in a group with my friends in high school. And this is when I like started really understanding race and racism. And I was getting all kinds of looks. So I went in the project building up in the high rise, like to like the 90-something floor.
Yeah.
And I remember I got off the thing, and people were in the hallway, like looking at me, like looking just dead at me. Like whole group of people. I was with like 5 people. I was the center of attention. You know what I mean? Just the neighbors. And my buddy's like, I think you're this is the furthest a non-black person has got since the people who built it. You know what I mean? And I that's when I started to understand racism and like people like mixing of cultures and people being different, and like you stick with your kind, and you know what I mean? Like that's where I was like, oh, and I was like probably a freshman or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm starting to like 14 years old, starting to understand like, oh, like if we look different, we're not exactly, you know what I mean? Like we're not exactly the same. And so I feel like that's when I realized like, okay, like people experience may vary, like.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. And that'll give you open your purview, your perception of like maybe how other people view things, and build empathy, like you were saying, for that other group. But for me it was similar. Like I grew up in Yuma, Arizona. It was just Mexican.
Mostly Hispanic, yeah,
mostly Mexican. But there's ways to blend in as a white boy, as a güero. I can work my way in. I speak a little Spanish. Get me out of trouble. But it was funny because I remember all my friends like, you're white, but like at least you're not black. It was like I was like, damn, dude, Hispanic people are fucking racist. Like, at least where I grew
they're
up,
all racist.
Everyone's
Asians
racist.
are racist.
Yeah, that's true. Like everyone is racist to a degree.
But going back to America, right? We were founded on immigrants.
Sure.
And a country of collective races and ethnicities.
Sure, yeah.
That is literally our founding, like.
That's what makes it special, I think. Yeah. That there isn't an ethnic background to being an American.
Now, to be fair, when people like, it's funny, like here, we're in Europe, right? And they'll be like, what are you? And I'm like, I'm American. They're like, you don't look American.
Sure.
And they'll ask me, are you Colombian? Italian? I've got an Italian, Colombian, Turkish, like anything but American. And I'm like, because, they think blonde hair, blue eyes, that's American. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. But other countries are becoming like that too, like Germans. We have the traditional what a German looks like. But Germans, they're changing. You know what I mean? French, they're changing. Mbappe, French. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I view these things a little bit differently. Like I think America is unique in not having a ethnic background. Germany's not the same. France is not the same.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what makes us different.
Right, and so like when I hear arguments, people say like, well, Germany wants to expel immigration and all that to preserve a ethnic identity. Like I get that. I mean, if they're not American, I want to accept that in my country, in America. If the Germans want to do that, fine. Like I'm not. That's not my place to argue. So I always try to avoid like people like, well, Germany's doing this, they're preserving the white race. Like, okay, who gives a fuck? Like I'm not German, like I'm American. If they can do that, sure. When it comes to America, though, like it gets what pisses me off as a person that would be like my ideas of like what a conservative is. I'm very pro-capitalist, very pro-individual rights. Having a force like ICE to just go up to people and arrest them, like detain them on no probable cause, to me is like such a huge affront to what it means.
Well, it's an infringement on your rights as a citizen.
Right, and it makes me so mad that the people that I would have aligned with my whole entire life just lick those boots. And they're like, hell yeah.
Right, but don't you think it's funny? Like national conservative base, like the ones we know in the last, let's say from the 2000s till now. Okay? Because I feel like there's a certain sect that's different than Republicans of past. Like I'm talking
You're talking about like maybe the Tea Party movement.
So they would be all up against any infringement of our rights.
If it was done by a Democrat, yeah.
No, of the government to them. Illegal search and seizure,
when
illegal arrests. You know what I mean? Like what we're talking about, where the federal government can come and just snatch you up.
But the Patriot Act was passed under Bush.
Right.
So they were all very big on that, about like giving up their own individual rights as long as the Republicans in office.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, if it's a Democrat doing the same thing that a Republican does, it's a problem.
Not even close, though, too, because I remember like when Obama was doing like military training and like they're doing like landing in Texas fields, like doing just training stuff. They're practicing to put us in FEMA camps. Like,
FEMA camps, right?
Yeah, I was like, what are we doing, y'all? Like, god damn.
Yeah, but I mean, but what I'm saying is like those are infringement of rights. Like I think of like those the Proud Boys. Like, oh yeah, if the government tried to overtake us, we got our guns and we'll fight back. Or like farmers, you know what I mean? Like we'll defend ourselves. We got our AR-15s. And, you know what I mean? Like if the government ever tried to do, what was it? Was it Yellowstone? Where like if the government tried to do something on our land, we would fight them back. You know what I mean? Like we would take on the government. You know what I mean?
Okay.
With violence, with guns.
I hate that show, so I have no idea.
But I mean, I remember like in Nevada, there was like a few years ago, maybe actually it was probably a while ago. I think it was pre-COVID, where like law enforcement agents were trying to enforce something in Nevada ranchers, and
it was like a standoff.
You know, I remember that. All the Nevada ranchers got together with their guns. I think they were on horseback too. I can't remember, but you know what I mean. Like, but my point is like infringement of our rights. Inherently, I think of. If there was a party to defend that we keep our individual rights, it would be the Republican. It would be the Conservative Party. I feel like Democrats would be more likely to let go of rights or expand, like progressive things, like we should have, more social programs. You know what I mean? And
but like this is one of my frustration is. I agree with you. That's the perception.
Yeah, my perception.
But the reality of it is, that the Republicans have been so willing to go with their rights, have been so willing to just be shitty with the economy. They're like the worst for the economy. They're the worst at deficit spending. They're the most anti-capitalist of the two parties. They're the biggest to start infringing on our rights. It's like all the things that we say that conservatives are like would be conservative. They don't practice it at all.
And right, but their message is that
the media is owned by the right, and like full stop. Like alternative media especially, and it's like there's no pushback, and like the perception is like, oh yeah, Trump's great for the economy. It's like, bro, he fucked up the economy in 2020.
So let me tell you some real things.
We'll talk about like individual rights too. Like people always talk about COVID, like the lockdowns.
We have to wear a mask. That's our individual right being infringed.
Who was president during that? Trump was president during that, and they just go like, oh no, like motherfucker, like we can just look at it.
Well, that's what makes me laugh. So it's like, if a police officer, federal agent, I guess, snatches you up and detains you,
right,
not an infringement on your right. But if I have to wear a mask, you motherfucker, like I will kill. Like that's the hill we're gonna die. Like one of those is way worse than the other.
Yeah, like that woman in Minnesota, she should have just complied. It's like, motherfucker, you were bitching and moaning about wearing a mask.
I think she said, "Shut up, bitch," or something like that.
Oh no, after you killed her, he's like, "Fucking bitch." I'm just like, bro, come on. I don't know if you want to talk about that. The shooting in Minnesota, that's always a spicy one. But let's roll back and read some of these things. Oh man, here we go. Wow, we're gonna scroll up here. People talk a lot. Our country was founded on taxes because if being you American is based on not paying taxes, then George Washington during the Whiskey Rebellion must have disagreed. Honestly, I don't care if Canada is allied or not. This is precedent that territory of NATO members are challenged by one of them, an ally. Build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. Yeah, there you go. That'll happen one of these days. I would repeal the ACA for different reasons. We already know my reasoning for that. Yeah, Master Liberty. You exist on a different wavelength, brother, but I know where you're coming from. Death to deportation ratio was like 30 to 30,000 in 2025. I'm not surprised that after everything Trump says and does, Canada's not interested in unlimited military cooperation with the U.S. Edward Kaczynski says, Mr. Sidious, I don't exactly understand you. Territory of NATO members is challenged by a NATO member. So Denmark challenged by the U.S., yes. National Liberty, state citizenship is different than national citizenship. State citizenship is based on residency, while union citizenship is based on naturalization and birth within the political and territorial jurisdiction of the USA.
Agreed.
Yeah. Edward Kaczynski, yes, within an organization that was formed to help each other in defense. What I'm thinking is, if you go back far enough, wasn't America founded by a bunch of Europeans anyway? European nations and Britain, etc. What if this was an elaborate co-op/plan orchestrated by NATO/ZIO oligarchs? ZIO?
Oligarchs is what he meant to say?
We said ZIO oligarchs. I don't know.
The oligarchs.
Well, the issue is when you look at America being like a European stock, that doesn't mean anything. Like that's already diverse in its own nature. And there's like the Saxon, the German,
well, the
English,
concept of
the
European
French
came later, right?
Yeah, well, like it wasn't like the concept of white came later. Like Germans and Irish were not on the same tier, but we would consider them white now. But
yeah, they all hated each other. Italians, Irish, they all had their slurs for each other.
75 U.S. independence from the Korea. I don't know this big plan. Okay, but Israel, yes, but Israel. Actually, we're not talking about Israel enough.
Let's talk about it. The lights just go off the podcast.
Hava and Nagila starts blasting. Federalists weren't too pleased about it due to immigrants being more likely to vote Democrat or Republican in early 1800s, if I remember correctly. I don't mean that long. The recent decades, I'm pretty sure it's connected though. Columbus, the Rothschild family. Oh boy.
Oh, Rothschild. Oh yeah.
Where the commies at? I thought Canada was the 51st state. ICE, Minnesota. I was accused of being a Democrat/Republican, called the worst names, and banned from 12 streams. I asked neutrally if it would be better to wait for the investigation, freedom of speech. Oh, real quick on this about what Ozeki Lawfer said. I thought they're not doing an investigation for the ICE shooting. I thought the JD Vance came out and said there'll be no formal investigation about the shooting.
I thought the state could do so.
The state, there won't be any federal, and the federal government's not complying with the state investigation.
Right. Okay, so from what I understand, it was the state can pull up charges against that federal agent.
Right.
Okay. and then the federal courts can take it from the state because they're the Supreme Court, right? The federal courts supersede state courts. They can pull it from them, or they can bring it back down to them. So that's why I said even if the states try to bring them up on charges, the federal courts could take it like, oh, we'll take that case and then do nothing.
I don't think it works exactly like that.
That's how I was explained by like there's this like little Asian lady on that explains like she's like a lawyer. She's like
she's like a lawyer.
She like went through all that stuff, so I was like, oh, it's gotta be true.
Maybe it is.
She's Asian, so it's gotta be true.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's another messaging.
By Zio, I mean orchestrated by the Zionist oligarchs. I thought that's what you were going to say. I just didn't want to assume what you were saying. But Ozzy Gloffer, I agree with you. With let's wait to see an investigation. I think that's the most like understandable viewpoint.
But it goes back to the court of public opinion. People saw videos. They've already formed their opinion. So there's nothing that a court will say that will change their minds. Because like we said, with Trump supporters or even
the left down Democrats, yeah,
they believe what they believe in. They're dug in, and there's nothing you can say. There's no amount of logic, proof, evidence, reasoning to change their mind. They are so dug in, and that's actually the people I hate the most on both sides. Sure. It's like the more sure you are of something, A, the more I know how stupid you are, and then how B, like the less I believe you.
I feel like I'm sure on a lot of stuff. Do you think I'm stupid?
About a lot of stuff, yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah. No, I mean my point is if you are. But here's the difference, brother, and you know I was just joking right there, is if you are open to reasoning and having your mind actually change. Like, hey, if you bring me evidence, if you bring me more than just anecdotal evidence, but like actual evidence and reasoning, I will open up. My mind can be changed. But like when people are like, oh no, this is what it's about. I know. You don't know. And then the second thing that I hate is when people try to disqualify. They're like, look, man, I was in the MU. All right.
Don't do that.
You know what I mean?
That's not. I didn't do that.
But you know what I'm saying? No,
yeah.
Imagine if I did that. Let's say you were me and I was you. I'm like, no, dude, I was in the MU. You don't know anything about marine operations, okay? Because I was in the MU. And I'm like, all right, bro. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to disqualify my opinion because you were in a MU, but not. You were on this boat, but you weren't. You said over a decade ago, which could be obsolete. You know what I mean? Like.
That is true. My experience with this is over 10 years old.
Right. That's why I wanted Michael Beale.
Shut up, dude.
Michael, if you're watching, please leverage your expertise.
For sure. There are no bigger enemies than two Europeans. That is true. Yeah. You ask what an Englishman thinks of the French, and they're going to hear the most off-the-wall slurs. Or even just like... Ice shooting was bad, in my opinion. Very good. Microphone is popping a bit. Uh-oh. Sorry. Poor lady, that was public execution. Tribalism has gotten so bad that neutrality is considered treason. I feel like that's fair.
Right, yeah. You can't even be like, let's wait for the investigation. They're like, this guy needs to die.
Well, Quantum Traveler says he's neutral, so let's ban him. Yep. Hold up, let me IP ban Quantum Traveler. I'm just playing. I agree that she was going to hit argument from Trump is dumb as fuck. Everyone can see in the footage she was turning right. The cop had already moved away, plenty of time to pull up the gun. Also, that technically isn't how that works, but practically speaking, based on how the government operates, yes, federal court nowadays overrides state courts. It's used to be more jurisdiction-based, but that changed with the expansion of federal power. It used to be that completely local crimes and affairs cannot be revived by federal courts unless it implicates a clause of the Constitution which restricts the states in that respective situation. Okay? Should we help liberate Iran? So I thought about it for a bit. I don't know what the answer to it is. It's too vague to confirm it and too vague to deny it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, when it comes to the shooting, like, what are your thoughts on this? Initially, like, we can get more into the nitty gritty, but like, what are your gut feelings?
So I do think that if the law enforcement creates a hostile environment,
canceled. You're canceled now.
If the law enforcement creates a hostile environment, is that like justification of like using lethal force because you're in danger? You know what I mean? Like,
you're saying as the civilian, as a citizen?
So
if they create a hostile environment, is it authorized for you now to use lethal force?
So yeah, if I create the hostile environment, then you react in a certain way that puts me in danger. Then I say, you're putting me in danger, so now I get to, as the federal agent, to use lethal force on you because you were doing hostilities to me.
I'd say generally speaking, no. I don't think that's...
You know what I mean? It's like this weird logic reasoning that I was trying to come to. I'm like, okay, Yes.
This feels like a situation of their own creation.
Federal agents always have the ability to defend yourself. And I remember, like, in the military, I would always say that. If someone, I remember when I was a platoon leader, and it's funny I had to say this because it's not a trick question. Like, if someone shoots at you, what do you do?
Yeah, you asking me? Like, yeah, you shoot back.
You shoot back. That's the correct answer. Correct. Survey says shoot back.
100. Ding.
That is the first correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not a trick question.
Sure.
Like, I need you to know unequivocally, like, if someone started shooting at our platoon, we're on patrol, you immediately start shooting back.
Well, I mean, military's a bit different, right? I mean, I'm just saying, like, ROEs were always pretty, for me anyway.
Well, ROE would be in a conflict. They're doing law enforcement, so I know they're not apples to apples.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They're not apples to apples. But I think the self-defense thing does traverse both. Like, you know, if they're doing an inherently dangerous job, right? Maybe of their own doing, but either way, it's a dangerous job. Law enforcement is generally a dangerous job. So if someone starts to attack you, you have the right to defend yourself. And I also believe in the mantra, the unofficial thing, like, I'd rather be judged by a jury of 12 than carried by 6, right? It's like, I want to find out what's going to happen to me. Because if I let them kill me, then I know what happens to me. So I'm okay with that. But there's just things about ICE that just don't sit well with me.
Well, that's, and I think we're going to agree on this, is that ICE has created a environment of uncertainty and, like, fear among people, that it's like,
yeah, I think the way they are carrying out their business is unconstitutional. The way they're doing it is unconstitutional. That's what I believe.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's unconstitutional, and it's terrifying for somebody, I think, in the United States that's even just ICE is in the area. Like, we're seeing they're, like, throwing fucking tear gas and, like, children's Halloween parades and shit. You know,
well, fuck them kids, man.
What I mean is, like to me, that's just, like, crazy. That anyway.
No, but I mean, like, remember we talked about this before, like, the fact that they cover their face with masks.
Right. I don't like that.
So I understand. We understand it, right? From my understanding, it was because
they don't want to get doxxed or by cartels or something.
Right. They didn't want to be identified, and then they go after their families and all this other stuff for them doing their jobs, right?
Sure.
Which, you know, we all know the foot soldiers aren't the ones making policy. You know what I mean? The guys out there on the streets are not the ones like, well, you know, we came up with these rules.
Yeah, but why is that different than any other law enforcement? We wouldn't accept that from the FBI. We wouldn't accept that from the DEA. We wouldn't accept that from the DEA.
That's why I said it doesn't. I agree with you. It doesn't sit well with me. I'm like, I got you. It's an inherently dangerous job.
Sure.
Yes, your family could be targeted. You know what I mean? But I shouldn't have to wonder if that's law enforcement or if that's just a bad guy.
Well, it's funny because
and masks are notoriously noted for bad guys.
What's that?
Bad guys wear masks.
Yes, yeah.
No, think about it. We were trained that way, right? In the bank robber movies, what do? They cover their face.
Sure. I mean, well, what I was going to get to is, like, in that video, like, my credibility for ICE is, like, so gone out the window. Like, I do not care for these guys anymore. Especially because in the video, after they kill that woman, whether it's justified or not, the first thing they say is, someone needs to call the cops. Like, the ICE agents are saying that? Someone needs to call the cops? Like, what the fuck are you? You guys are supposed to be law enforcement. Like, you guys can't handle this? Like, you just gunned down a woman, and you're like, whew, that was rough. See ya. You know, like, what?
Didn't they dip?
They did. Well, from what I understand, like, that's not like a bad thing, that the guy that actually shot her dipped. Usually that is, like, standard. From what I hear, if a police officer or law enforcement, like legitimate law enforcement, not ICE, kills somebody in a line of duty, if you get that officer out of there immediately. It's just going to cause more problems. Like, the guys, who knows what they're going through. Like, get them the fuck out of there. Let someone else handle it.
I guess. Like, I mean, yes and no. Because, like, intuitively you would think, like, no, if you're involved, you stay.
Right.
I feel like, yes.
In terms of, like,
that guy could be separated. Like, let's say, like, there's a group of them. Like, yeah, you separate him from the immediate thing, but he doesn't, like, leave until he's officially released to go.
Yeah, he would have to be in the custody of some other officers at the very least. I agree with you.
So that's fair. I mean, I guess the way you said it sounded like, oh, he could just dip out. Like, I guess.
Well, he kind of just did. He got back in his vehicle.
My shift's over.
He's like, somebody needs to call the cops. Someone just killed a guy.
Like, Brick, you killed a guy.
It was like, damn, dude. You know.
Yeah, but the way they wear masks, the way they just run up on people, dude.
Oh yeah, the guy jumped into her car.
And you know what the thing is? We've all seen Op 4. Don't they look like Op 4 to you? paramilitary stuff.
Oh shit! Drop coffee on me.
Yeah, paramilitary stuff. You know, where you're wearing like some multicam, some masks.
Mm-hmm.
You're acting like a complete hooligan.
You got all these different patches on there.
Right.
Yeah. They have such.
They
little
look like
training.
OP4 to me.
They have such little training too. It's like
just like OP4.
I was like, why are we enabling this federal law enforcement agency with the most like freedom, with the least amount of training,
oversight, and
like that's crazy to me because like like I think immigration enforcement is a necessity of any country, but it's like I want this to be handled by professionals and like a deliberate professional way, not like we're going to go to the courthouses and wait for people to show up to their court date, try to go through the legal process and lock them up. Like, what are we doing?
Dumb bitch.
We're going to go raid a high school and beat the shit out of students. It's like, no, what is this?
It's fun.
It's insane to me. Like, I think there needs to be professionalism.
It seems like chaos.
It is chaos. And like, it seems like we just went like, oh yeah, you want to be nice? Can you read? Oh, that's optional. Are you a criminal? What kind of criminal? Okay, that's fine.
We can waive almost anything.
We can waive almost anything. It's like I feel like that's what
it's
we're
like
getting.
The height of the war. We could take almost anything. You got tattoos. You've done drugs. You got a criminal record.
It's like you were in prison for what? Oh, you were at the Capitol. Oh, okay. Oh, you beat a police officer to death. Oh, that's crazy. Do you want to be? Are you sure you do? You want to be ICE? Okay, cool. Okay, well, it's like
cool. Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like the whole thing is just chaos. They don't seem very. Yeah, all the things you mentioned is what doesn't sit well with me, and their lack of oversight and impunity to do anything. But the thing is, there are parallels to like Gestapo and other regime like things we saw in history where there's like these masked hitmen for the government. I would only read about these in like corrupt countries, like where they're like, oh, this dictator went to power. Name a dictator. Like, oh, this dictator came to power and he had these military groups that would do his bidding for him. Because I remember Hitler did that, right? He had like groups that would just go with billy clubs and beat people up.
The black shirts, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Or brown shirts, black shirts.
I think they're the brown shirts. But,
brown shirts. Okay.
Yeah, but do you get what I'm saying? Like, this is what this looks like, and they're under the umbrella of the federal government. And I feel like that's the part that I don't like. It's like they are definitely not abiding by the Constitution at all. And we've been the target. The brown people have been the target, and that's actually
hey, there's no we here. All right.
My perspective as a brown person and family of people that are brown, Mexican, Mexican descent for us, but it doesn't really matter. Venezuelan, Colombian, whatever. It doesn't matter because here's the thing. Like you just said, you put me in a lineup, you're like, you're all Mexican, And I'm like, I'm Colombian. They're like, okay, whatever, Hector, I'm like, my name is Brian. You're like, all right, Javier.
We'll see you at Home Depot later, brother.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like we all look the same. You know what I mean? And so that's why I'm like, okay, I've been to U.S. I've never even been to Mexico or any of those South American countries or Central American countries. But yet they'll be like, oh, you look it. It's like, yeah, but you got to do a little bit more than that. You know what I mean? Like, and they're like, actually, I don't got to do anything. Get on the ground. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, my thing with this shooting, though, I think if it was any other law enforcement other than ICE, I'd be far more willing to be like, hey, this is it's a tragedy. I would give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Now, I do acknowledge I am very biased against ICE, and so maybe I'm kind of blinded by this, but it just in my gut just sits so
and their
long.
Messaging is terrible. Like everybody thinks of them as the bad guys.
Well, you see, like immediately they're like these guys. They were targeted by this terrorist of a woman. You had Jesse Waters on Fox News, like she was a lesbian and she had pronouns in her bio. It's like, so she deserves to get fucking murdered. Like, what are we doing?
At the very least.
Yeah, it's like, what is it? Like the implication of like she had pronouns in her bio, guys.
No, my favorite is they're like, oh, but we're only going after criminals. Like I didn't know we get to just execute criminals.
Yeah.
Like I thought we had this thing. What was it called? Due process. You know what I mean? Like we had this thing where they had their day in court and they had to be proven that they were guilty, and then they were sentenced to whatever punishment.
It's actually called due process now, and that's why we hate it.
But do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, when they go, but that was a criminal. That was a known criminal. It's like, oh, we just can kill criminals now? Like, oh, this guy broke the law, off with his head,
Yeah.
Like Even that argument doesn't make sense.
Right.
But I mean, I think the way they go about it, everything about them is off-putting. It doesn't sit well with me. And then the group that they're targeting is my group. You know what I mean? So like, it definitely hits home to me. And you know, and the thing is, I'm like, how do you? And this is the part too that I hate. Is how do you win in that situation? So let's put ourselves in that situation.
What situation exactly?
Where ICE rolls up on you. You're at HEB in Texas, and you're trying to just go ahead and go to HEB, that fine American store, and you're just trying to get your groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And you're putting groceries in your car, and ICE rolls up on you, dude. And you're literally like with your wife, your kid, and you're just trying to put groceries in your car. And they roll up on you. And they do the whole intimidation thing where they got the SUVs, like, you know.
Oh, it'd be terrifying. Yeah.
And you're just standing there, and it's like, all right, do I comply? Like, they're basically attacking me. I've done nothing wrong. I've broken no laws. I've done nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, if I go with them, I'm going to end up in prison. I'm going to end up being detained somewhere.
For days.
With unknown time that I will be detained.
Yeah, we've already deported U.S. citizens by accident, too.
Unknown time I'm going to be detained. So, like, I already know the outcome of that scenario.
Right.
I'm going to be fingerprinted and all that stuff. And then my family. I am now away from my family. I don't know what's happening to them because I am under your detainment. Yeah. What are they doing to my wife and daughter? They're already doing stuff. So like in my mind, I'm like, and I'm in Texas and I'm an open carry. Like, bro, like I was like, this is a no-win situation because I'm going to start shooting these people because I'm going to really believe I'm doing in self-defense, and they're going to shoot and kill me because there's more of them than me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, this is a lose-lose. This is 100% lose-lose. Like, I can't think of like when people are like, oh, just do X, Y, and Z and you'll navigate that situation.
Just comply. It'll be fine.
So like, that's the part that is like ultimately like.
I saw a video today. It was like these guys like, what's his problem? He's like, should have complied. And it's Jesus on the cross. I was like, God damn, dude. But okay, let's go back here.
Hey, but ICE is hiring. So if you guys are looking for a job, IT, I think I saw one network administrator for IT in San Antonio. So if you're looking for a job, CBB is hiring.
American Homie scared me. No, I was just kidding, man. I'm not gonna ban you. I think I've only banned one person ever on here.
What did you ban?
He was saying some like crazy shit. I mean, like hard R slurs and shit. I was like, okay, dude, like you're too far.
I don't even
too
say
far
vinegar
gone.
With a hard R.
You say salt and vinegar chips?
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty good. Not in my opinion. If I endangered you, I think you were allowed to recreationally nuke my ass. Like, did you know the National Guard cannot go or assist other states while not federalized without the permission of that state? A state compact allows automatic consent. A state compact allows automatic consent to be given for National Guards to be transferred across the nation while not federalized, which is not a power of the federal government, but since it is a state compact, it allows the federal courts to enforce it. Dude, this ain't a civics class, dude. You're fucking hurting my brain here. But yeah, okay. Edward Kaczynski, Vatican will hear of this. So gone. He ran in front of the car and whipped out his gat. Bro, they're PMCs with federal badge. It's crazy. They aren't full law enforcement. They only have certain carryable law enforcement powers from being under the DHS. I think it is like USC 153AA or something like that. They can only do certain things. Similar to FBI regarding on-the-job enforcement, but zero investigatory and prosecution powers. They also cannot do local law enforcement. I heard the name ICE is U.S. Gestapo. Sugar happy because of qualified immunity. Also, ICE and CPB. What's CPB?
Customs and Border Patrol.
Oh, okay. Are different and have different statuses for each. One being subject, funny enough, to the Secretary of the Treasury. Is this? Wait, I don't know. Okay, essay the Sturmabteilung, the NSDAP, paramilitary squads, intimidation of political opponents, communist, social, and Democrats beatings, street murders, and chaos. They helped Hitler rise to power, then later became a problem. Well,
they did become a problem.
They became a big problem.
He killed them, yeah. But my point is, he used them when he needed them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, even the other side is farming this point for that woman, single mother and such, which I don't really care about. She was murdered, and that's what I care about. And Gestapo later. Not gonna lie, homie, I have always been neutral and I've always had faith in our system, but I don't know anymore. I know people who have inside info in the admin and part of the local government here, but even they seem skeptical. I have a lot of knowledge on the Constitution and of law, but don't know if there is a way out of this. Without our law collapsing and the Constitution being completely lost by the end of it, nothing but a parchment barrier. Yeah, it's kind of sad. The stuff in Iran is crazy. I'm already seeing on socialist bot accounts spamming at real Donald Trump, save Iran, to the protests going on in Iran. Like, bruh, are these even real comments from NPCs or actual bots? What are they? I'm curious, Edward Kaczynski, when they say save Iran, are they saying from the perspective of the government or the people protesting?
Can I sign up for ICE? I think you can, my friend.
Wait, where do you see that?
He's like, I'm not a U.S. citizen. Can I sign up for ICE?
Oh.
I think you could. And the thing is, what's funny about it is, I think they would take him and then find out later and then turn on him.
Yeah,
I wonder. I think part of the screening process is like, are you a U.S. citizen?
I don't know. They're probably like, do you want to be?
Well,
yeah, okay.
They said some things about President Trump trying to revoke naturalization citizenship for certain countries, like the Somalians.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy to me. To me, that's just so evil. Like, because what's funny to me is like the 14th Amendment. We can
wait. You just said the two things that. Look at this guy right here. I'm white and I can speak English.
There you go.
Hired.
Welcome.
Wait,
welcome to ICE, brother. Here's your fucking gun.
Weidman tile.
Weidman tile. Here's your fucking class 2 plates, brother. Let's go out there. No, I mean, I lost my train of thought with that one. Fuck, what are they saying? Anyway, they want
that comment was too good. He's like, I'm white and I speak English.
Come on in, brother. Yeah. With arms wide open. They want Trump to invade Iran. It's supposed to seem as though he's in support of the protesters. I have no idea. I mean, I think Trump would support anything if like people liked him enough. You know, if like there's enough people in Denmark like invade Greenland, I think he would be like, they love me. They told me to invade. I did. Yeah.
What do you think of the ballsiness of the European, like the Denmark, the Danish, NATO and other officials saying like, you
shoot on sight?
Yeah.
To me, it's like, I think it's very sad and disappointing the way our leadership in America has spoken about our allies, and especially the Danes. I read somewhere that the Danes lost more people per capita in Afghanistan than any other country.
It's a third per capita reference.
Yeah. Per capita, that's a lot for a show, you know, with these especially. No, but yeah, I think per capita, the Danes have lost more people in Afghanistan than any other country, any other like coalition country.
So they're weak.
No, it's just like they sacrificed their own people, you know, for an attack on the United States. And like for us to just turn our backs on them and to start joking about invading, even if it's all just jokes, like why joke about that?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I've served with other countries, mainly the British, and I mean, and at this point, Ukrainians, and it's like I can't imagine. Like to me, there's a lot of anger I have, and like regarding comments that have been made, especially towards Ukrainians, because of like my personal experiences. And I can't imagine. Like I never served with the Danes or anything like that. I think I would be. For the Danes to feel a certain way, I think they're completely justified in those like what they've been saying.
Well, they're obviously a proud people, and like someone just saying like, "Sell me your land, or I'm taking it," which is the ultimatum that basically is being floated around. Now, I don't know if Trump actually said it. I think he says like he like talks around. He's like we got to do something about Greenland. You know what I mean?
Military force might be necessary.
And people take that as like, okay, we're invading because of the recent history with snatching a president. You know what I mean? That screams invasion, right? We went to another country, went on their land without permission. You know what I mean? We just did it. And then we left. We did leave. But they did say there's still boots on the ground. I don't know how much of a foothold lodgement we have there. But you know what I mean? Like we went, and when boots go on the ground, you're occupying a foreign country. And it's against their will. You know what I mean? So they know we're capable of doing it. And maybe that's where the Venezuela kind of fits into the big picture too, because I do think of Trump as a negotiator. I do think he's a negotiator because here's the thing: he's a crazy negotiator, but negotiator nonetheless. Like if I go, hey, I got a grenade, and I'm gonna blow up this whole room, right? And you see me, I have the grenade, I pull the pin, and you're like, okay, I'll do whatever you want. I'll give you all my money. I'm like, okay, and that's what I really wanted. But I go to this extreme length to like kill us all.
You know, like what? But like, what is it negotiated though?
Like that's his negotiation tactic, like full nuclear. Like
Yeah, but it's stupid.
I will go full nuclear.
Yeah.
Like Hiroshima, Nagasaki on your ass,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I open. You know what I mean? So then you're like, how about we just let you have our country? And you're like, deal.
Yeah, but that hasn't happened.
I think in his head, that's you know when he like plays it out in his head. I think that's how he plays it out. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm gonna say I'm gonna invade you.
You're just, what you're saying is like what you're saying the reality of the situation. You're not saying if it's smarter.
I think that's what he does.
Okay.
And I'm speculating, 100% speculating, throwing darts at a dartboard. But what else can you do? I don't think anybody has any real intelligence on what the plans are besides the people in his like cabinet.
Except for like Peter Thiel and.
Because I remember when
Steve Miller,
when the hiring freeze started and federal workers, and then there was like the furlough and all that stuff. Remember, like that was like all last year.
Yeah.
I remember listening to all the people who've been in federal government service for like 20 years. People who've been doing this forever. They're like, oh yeah, this will end. We've seen this before, and blah blah blah. And they said all these things, and I'm like, okay. And then the Doge, remember the 5 email question and all that stuff, the Doge and all that. I'm like, you've never seen this before. Like I like how all of you guys act like you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, this happened before back in the 2000s. You know, I'm like, yes, a hiring freeze may have happened.
Right.
That in and of itself is not new, but the Doge and all that stuff, like the why the hiring freeze happened, and you know the DRs and all that stuff. Like people act like they know, and that's where I was telling you, the more confident they are, the more I distrust them. The more I'm like, you don't know anything. Because specifically with this administration, I feel like there is no insider who knows.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they know about anything.
Fair, and that goes back to if they don't even know.
Right. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like that's my issues with like the things in Venezuela. Like I don't think there's a plan, and that's why I think it's bad. Like the action in of itself of like capturing Maduro, don't care about that much as long as there's a plan. You know, because people are like, oh, it's like clutching their pearls over like what's illegal, what's not legal, or what is legal. We have given so much power to the executive branch that it's pretty much legal for the president to do that. Yeah. Right. Yeah, and arguing about that, I think is the wrong.
Checks and balances are just like. Did you hear about what President Trump was talking about the midterms?
What is he saying?
Well, he's like, if we lose the midterms, they'll find a way to impeach me.
Yeah. No shit.
And so, like, hey, good on him for making sure that he had the judicial and legislative branches like in his pocket for the. And I think that's why he's bold now because he has them.
Yeah, but he didn't do anything. And that's another thing too. Is like dude. How much of a fuck up do you have to be? You have all 3 branches of government and you get like nothing done other than just like short-term executive powers. It's like no legislation, no landmark like bills or anything. Like he hasn't passed anything except for the big beautiful bill.
I was gonna say the big beautiful bill.
That was just like massive tax cuts for the rich. That's like nothing on immigration. Like our immigration laws have not changed.
I think they're gonna pass a CR soon. But yeah, like nothing monumental that you could.
No, like you want to have a lasting change, like all these things that we want to have like massive, immigration reconstructing or whatever, or even like get rid of the 14th Amendment or whatever. But like nothing, like we've done nothing. And it's like he's this great negotiator. We can't negotiate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. His way of negotiating is like extremes. Like he goes nuclear right away.
Right.
And I don't think that's ever his aim though, but he starts there. Like if I just want them to allow, let's say the aim for real, and let's say I'm speculating on Trump. Mm-hmm. I really just want to have some bases and access to the Arctic. That's what I want. That's my aim.
We already have that too.
And he goes, I'm going to invade Greenland. I'm going to give them all, what did he say, 100,000? Like give them some money and buy them out. He says all these things, and they're like, fuck no, fuck no, fuck no, fuck no. It's like, all right, can I just, we come down to, can I just have a base with access to the Arctic, unimpeded access to the Arctic from Greenland? And they're like, all right, fine. And then, we still give them a bunch of money. You know what I mean? They still get something out of the deal.
Yeah, but like how much has that soured everything else, though?
I don't think he cares. I think he.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying. That's stupid.
Yeah, I think he believes, and by nature, and you've been in the military a while, like when commanders are only here for 2 years, they'll mortgage the future for the now. Because guess what? The future is some other commander's problem.
Mortgage future for the now. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And so he's like, I'm only president now, right? The next 8 years, right? I'm only president for the next 8 years, my second term and then my third term, right?
Well, it's the same thing with like his
Yes.
first term was just like deficit spend.
Right. So I won't be president next in the next 8 years. I'll be president then now, and then my next third term, and then I'm done.
Yeah, part of me is like I want the Republicans to have power just for like 20 straight years, because like for my entire life has been for my entire life it's been like Republicans are in office and they fuck up the economy, and then Democrats come in and I was like, okay, all right, they build it back up, and then Republican comes in and they fuck it all up, then Democrat comes back in and fixes it, and the whole time like it's being fixed, you're like, wow, these Democrats suck. The economy sucks right now. It's like,
hey, but I got a question for you.
What's up?
I've been to many Democratic states, and I hate the way they're run. I've been to a lot of Republican states, and I love the way they're run. So it's funny, like at the state level, which, they're not exactly apples to apples, but it's hard to compare anything to the federal government because there's only one of it. You know what I mean? So
like in what ways though are you talking? Like, give an example.
So okay. 2 states I'm familiar with are the state of Illinois, because that's where I was born and raised for the first like 20 years of my life.
Sure.
And then I lived for the last like
so in Texas probably? Or?
Yeah. I've been in Texas for about a little over a decade.
Okay.
So 2 greatest periods of my life. Illinois and Texas.
Sure.
Okay. And I remember in Illinois there were so many social programs like healthcare when I was a kid, the food stamps, the unemployment, like all the different things that my family was on when I was a child, like growing up, and all these social programs. And then I grew up and I started working there, and I'm like, oh, the taxes, sales tax, highest in the nation. You know what I mean? Property tax, one of the highest in the nation. Income tax, one of the highest in the nation. You know what I mean? So you're getting taxed, not Germany bad, but bad. You know what I mean? For American standards.
Sure, yeah.
And then I go to the great state of Texas, right? And I go to Texas and I'm like, no income tax at all. I like that, right? I go to, sales tax, not so bad. Not the highest in the nation, in the middle. Not bad, you know what I mean? Like, and you start seeing like there's better places to live where you see more of the money, your quality of life is better. And granted, Texas does have a better climate than most of Illinois. But that, not holding that against them because, that's a geography thing. But, like how they run their state and how they do things just made more sense to me.
People like, how do they run their state better in Texas though? Like, what about the state being run where you're like, this is better than Illinois?
I just explained to you about taxes because that's the main.
So all you're saying is you paid less money.
That's a big quality of life change, man. Like you act like that's a small thing. You know what I mean?
No, but it has nothing to do with how the state is run, though. You know
how they determine to collect taxes in their state? Yeah, that's.
Well, what they do with the money, though, because right now you're saying like it's great if you have money.
Well, okay, so you would think
yeah.
money equals the state has more resources, they can do more programs, or they can do things better, but then they run it inefficiently. You know what I mean? So we would hate the quality of city engineering, roads, schools, school funding, how the schools are district and what they allow them to do. One of the things like in Texas that I like, and this is near and dear to my heart, is if you and it varies from county to county. You know what I mean? Like that's local. You know what I mean? It goes all the way down to local. But they'll be like, hey, as long as you're in the city limits, you can go to any school. You know what I mean? In the district. I'm sorry. As long as you're in the district, you can go to any school in the district. And I remember in Chicago, like, no, if you lived in this school area of the district, that's the school you went to. You didn't have an option to go to the neighbor school down the street if it was closer. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're in this school district. And then they would rechange it. They would redraw it as they see fit. And things like that. And you would just be like, oh, that's why my neighbor over there goes to that school and I go to this school. As a kid, you're like, why do you go to that school? I go to this school. I don't know. I just do. Then you're grown up and you realize like, oh, that's silly. You know what I mean? It's just little things like that. I think taxes is the big one. Car registration and how they do things was a big one.
Because like from my experience, because I've driven through Chicago, I've driven through Dallas. I'd rather drive through Chicago every time.
Chicago is it was recently rated the worst traffic congestion in the world. Specifically, there was one highway that like took the cake, but overall, the city of Chicago.
Because in Dallas, I've never feared in a city of like just a highway ending randomly. and like feeling I was gonna just
Like Speed.
Yeah, like Speed is like that's all over Dallas, and it's like I feel like it's a horror movie to drive through there. That's from my experience of being.
So it goes back to city planning.
Sure.
So in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
we have the the highways, the expressways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are still to this day 3-lane highways for a major metropolis that's bigger than Dallas. Yeah. Now, when you go to Dallas, you will see like 8-lane highways. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And there's still be. I'm not saying there's no traffic, but I'm saying you will see 8-lane highways,
and 4 of them will end randomly,
but
to your death.
But and that's the game. No, but like
makes it more interesting.
But like in Chicago, I'm like, how is a city this big still have 3-lane highways for as many people who live here? And it's like, what has the city done? What has the state done? What has the county done? You know what I mean? And this goes back to how the state runs its business. You know what I mean? And the people who live there.
Sure.
What do they do with the taxes? You know what I mean? And then I don't know if I have to explain this to you, but when I was growing up, there was like 4 straight governors that went to jail. And we used to call the governor's mansion the penitentiary. Like, that's the governor's mansion. Right. Because we had 4 straight governors go to jail.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, like, the one I remember distinctly was when President Obama got elected from the Senate to the president-elect. So, obviously, he vacates his Senate seat.
The state appoints a new senator.
The governor appoints a new senator.
Right.
For the state. So, it's not an elected official. He just fills out President Obama's or the vacant Senate seat.
Right.
And then when re-election, he can, run. So it was caught on tape because the dude used a government phone. He's like, oh, this seat's valuable. There's no way I'd give that away for free. So some dude, billionaire, pays to become a senator because he doesn't have to run. He just have to be appointed by the governor.
Right.
So I pay this man a lot of money, and you get to be called because you get the title of U.S. Senator, former U.S. Senator. I served in the Senate, Didn't have to get elected there.
Right, yeah.
It's like a little loophole. And that guy sold it, and then they caught him, and then they sent him to jail. And I think Trump pardoned him. I really do. I think he's out now. Governor Blagojevich. Remember that name?
Blagojevich?
Blagojevich.
No, I've never heard that name.
I remember that. Clear as day. I'm like, oh, that's how my state does things.
Okay. I think we should wrap it up soon. One last read through the comments, and then end it. Uh-oh. Okay, I remember that guy. I'm not used to it. He was an asshole. I'm white. Da, da, da. They want Trump to invade Iran. Okay, got you. Naturalization can be revoked, but only if their oath of allegiance has been violated and must be litigated by the courts and State Department. If Greenland becomes another U.S. state, will they automatically become an American? Can I wear my grandpa's uniform? He got those 2 lightning bolts on the helmet. Oh, I think he was an electrician. And be careful about the 14th birthright clause, the 1898 case, the justices are the same ones who said separate but equal was constitutional. The case was compromised between the justices. In the case of the mess, they contradicted themselves several times throughout it. I thought in the 14th Amendment's birthright clause, that gets debated. People bring up the birth of like Chinese immigrants that aren't U.S. citizens, and that was like litigated. Like, okay, they would still be considered American citizens. The part of the 14th Amendment that specifies to subject of the jurisdiction thereof only applies to people there on diplomatic status. It's my understanding, but I could be wrong, Master Liberty. I'm sure you would know. From Colombia, we're part of the Cobra unit as well. Nice. It's going to be wild to see the executive power get reversed back to its 1920s era power without the striking of the unlawful delegation of legislative powers. The entire administrative state will collapse, which I can say would be sad, but definitely worried regarding stability. The court is going to rule a lot. They're looking to strike same-sex marriage later this year, too. They got an Urbita case, which challenges it. Yeah, I think I'm for gay marriage as long as it's a gay man and a gay woman. They're also looking for a Lopez affirmation case, put a leash back on the Commerce Clause. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. If only we can invent a time machine and change the past. Fast forward to 2028. How will the Earth look in 2028? Aha, what a profound question. It still exists. Texas runs a surplus right now, if I remember correctly. I think they do. Welcome to the European system. My insurance, healthcare and social, makes up 26% of my payday without other taxes. 1/3 is healthcare, 2/3 is social insurance. Yeah, it's not free, as folks in your country love to claim. Yeah, when people say free, they know it comes from taxes. This is why governors weren't allowed to appoint senators during the convention. They constantly warned about making single points of failure, like swaying large populations of single officials. Okay, so we only got 2 followers today, Ziggo985 and Harksfin. Yeah, do you have any like thing you want to say, like closing statements, or?
No.
All right, great. Thank you guys for watching. This is Brian. I'm Troy. So yeah, hope you guys have a great evening. Mr. Sidious, thank you for the follow. Yeah, it's the Team America theme song. It's great.